What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Self Mastery Labs. This is a channel where I experiment, free flow, lecture, unedited, and with the purpose here, beginning January 1st, 2026, of really trying to find a way to, a system to change my life for the better, things that I've always wanted to do my whole life but wasn't able to, in every single way, leaving no stone unturned, figuring out a real system for permanent change and self-mastery. I'm sharing everything that I experience along the way as I try to construct a foundation that I can do that with, where I feel at the end of the night, every night, I've done everything I possibly could to continue to build that. And I imagine it's going to be an ongoing process. I'm going to share with you everything that I experience along the way. I'm a little short on time today, so I'm going to try to keep this to around 10 minutes. I'm going to go over and recap where I've gotten so far in a little over 3 weeks. I came up with 6 main pillars, and those are starting with the question of what do I believe in? Really forcing myself to spend a lot of time in this. What do I believe in, bigger picture wise, about like just big belief system? Like, what is it? What do I believe in spiritually, as deep as I can possibly go on that? And I spent a lot of time on it. I think it's super important if you're trying to change, because you're going to need fuel. You're going to need to understand your purpose. That brings me to my next thing, is number 2. The second pillar is purpose. What is your why? What is your purpose? Spend time with it. Your belief system, then your purpose, and those things should tie really well into each other. Third thing is, what do you want out of this physical reality that we live in? Everything. Lay out everything you've ever wanted, everything you want to pursue, the perfect way that you could define yourself if everything came true. Money, family, experiences, travel, etc., etc., etc. Business. Fourth, what character traits do you want to define you? What character traits do you want to use as you achieve things, as you move through this world? It should tie into what do you want, it should tie into your why, it should tie into your belief system. 5 is, what emotions do you want to both feel and do you want to wield as you go? Not really discussed a lot. I think we have a little more control over the emotional state that we're in, as well as the emotional state that where other people put us in, and things and activities and actions. All the things affect our emotions. So to really ask yourself, what emotional state do you want to try to be in most of the time, state or states, and how do you want to make other people feel as you go? These should all tie into everything, but that's another big pillar. That's where we actually are today. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit. Emotions. What emotions do you want to use when you can? Number 6 is what systems, rules, habits, actions do you want to consistently take in order to hit all these things? The emotional states you want to be in, the character traits you want to be defined by, the wants, the desires that you have in your reality, in your life, your purpose, your why, and then at the top, your deeper, bigger picture belief. That's all 6 that I've got right now, and again, we are on number 5. So let's just get into it. This is just diving in, brainstorming, going into it. I feel like emotions are fuel. They can power you. Why not use them? Everybody talks about just be disciplined when you're going after things, but if you really spend time on all these things, you're going to understand why you're doing things. You're gonna, I feel like I'm going to start generating emotions that I want because, well, I'm going to spend time with the people. I'm going to choose to spend more time with the people that I know make me feel a certain way, doing the things that I know make me feel a certain way. This is all going to build good energy, I think. We'll see, I'll let you know. But I did write down I want to feel inspired. This is an emotion that I want to feel, the feeling of like being inspired. And I would love to inspire others if I can, you know, by doing these things and really figuring it out, you know, things that people, not all of us, but a lot of us and most of us, I think, in our lives, you know, eventually let go of the big dreams that we had, or sacrifice a little bit. And I would love to figure out how to not do that, where you don't sacrifice anything. And you're 100% happy with the way it's going. No matter if it's gone well or not. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but, you know, I really think most of us are happy if we choose, or we think we choose, and we put the effort in, then we're happy. You know, I'll speak for myself on that. I'm happy when I'm doing that. When I get unhappy is when I feel like I've done less than I could, or I've compromised something about something that I cared about. I let myself down, and I feel like I can't let myself down if I just keep giving the effort. It's really hard to let yourself down. If you just keep showing up and you keep giving the effort, you keep striving in the face of uncertainty, in the face of the unknown, you try to do good, that then makes me happy. So inspiration is a big one. Now, I'm going to just chip away at this. We'll get as far as we can. Let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, I mean, of course, there are feelings. There's bigger feelings, but we'll get into a few of them. We only have a few more minutes left, 5 more minutes or so, and then, you know, I'll chip away tomorrow, and we'll get through this, and then we'll get into systems and habits and actions and start building those. But the other major feeling is love, right? So how do you feel love regularly? How do you practice that? How do you build that? How do you share that? I think it's just how you would think, you know, be conscious of it. I think that's where we get off. It's really hard to have the time once you get into life to make a habit out of like really expressing and allowing the feeling to come out of, like, if I think of, you know, how much I love my dog, you know, like really taking a moment with your dog and just sharing, you know. And I know sometimes that happens automatically, but sometimes there are days where you're in a hurry, but maybe you take a second and you play with your dog for a little longer, and it makes them unbelievably happy before you leave the house or whatever. You know, you play tug of war with them, you know, just thinking examples with your dog. And it just, I know my dog, it's like I play tug of war with him, and, you know, he's like on cloud 9, you know, but just to stop and enjoy, you know, that relationship you've got, you know, with your dog or your cat, or your kids, you know, really take the time to allow those moments where you feel it, you feel the connection, you feel the gratitude for that being and that interaction, and that'll help it grow. I mean, I can sit here and just think of people that I'm grateful for, and that feeling of gratitude and appreciation and love, like, can grow. So then when I go out and I run into someone else, I'm going to be carrying that with me a little bit. Likewise, let's say I'm just, you know, having not a great day, and I've been hit with a number of things that are really feeling negative, and I'm carrying that around with me. What can I do to, what actions can I take to bring that down a little bit, so I don't like spread that out there? I think being super conscious of that. But all right, let's stay on track here with the emotions. Inspiration, we talked about a little bit. Love, we talked about a little bit. Fun, I think that's an emotion. Think about, like, when you've had a lot of joy, a lot of fun, you know, with something, you know, you're laughing with somebody or just really enjoying yourself. You know, maybe you're on a ride or something at an amusement park, or just something where you've, high level of fun. Maybe it's, for you, shopping or something, or browsing, out shopping and browsing in the mall or something. I don't know. Maybe it's going for a walk in nature. It's just enjoyment, fun. Whatever it is, find it, think about it, write it down. Find the things the biggest positive emotions that you can. It's what I'm going to try to do. For me, fun is a big one. Laughter, fun, enjoyment, excitement. What is another one that's big out of all the emotions? There's is accomplishment one? Like feeling of like, yes, I did it. I think it is. Accomplishment. What else? What are the top emotions? Well, let me know in the comments below. Alright, so the biggest out of all is love. I think there's joy, excitement. Excitement branches into many different things. There's the dark ones are anger, hate. So I think there are feelings of like courage. I think everything has a slight variation in feeling. Calm, peace, feeling of contentment. Gratitude is another one. I actually, when I started to think about gratitude, that like tied into love for me. It was like, it's interesting how we just did character traits at pillar number 4, and I almost feel like these feelings, these emotions tie into character traits a lot, because they all carry a feeling with them, like the feeling you get when you feel very respected. I mean, just like think about that feeling of like respect, when somebody gives you great respect. I mean, it's like, when you're the work that you've put in or something you've done is like really respected. That comes with this feeling of pride, validation, empowerment. It's a good feeling. All these are double-edged swords in a way, because if you depend on others to give you those feelings fully, then you're susceptible to someone giving you the other side of the feeling, like that you're nothing, that you're crap, that you're But I think that it's useful to know and to be able to receive those when they come. And to also be able to block and know, hey, I'm not going to let these penetrate. I'm going to take what good I can if somebody's hitting me hard, but I need to understand and be smart and understand what if they're incentivized to really bring you down for whatever reason, then maybe you find a way to block that. But I think these emotions are super important to just start to get into what we're getting into right now. And I apologize if this feels like, there's moments where I'll pause and really get into the thought process of it, but I do want to leave that in here and share that this is the kind of thinking that for me anyway is necessary. Maybe it's not for you, but it's part of that leaving no stone unturned, that part of that, like, it's just, I don't know if you can really figure out how to build a really strong foundation without spending this kind of time, whether you're writing it on your own, in your room or your office. But if you don't spend the time and grapple with this stuff and really understand, like what tools do I have in this body to move me through? Where am I trying to go? What's a worthy cause? Like, knowing what I know. All I can know is what I know, is what I've experienced and what I've been exposed to through these eyes, through these senses. And then I gotta make a call and I gotta go the best way that I can. And I've made mistakes. And I'm filled with all this history of things that I've done and not even, feeling like maybe I've been asleep like most of the time, or just didn't even know, what really I was doing. I was just going along. And now it's as you get older and older, as I get older and older, I really start to get this sense that I can pause and look around and try to gather and then go forward again, and so I think it's just really important that this time is taken, and I'm going to go further with this on my own, but this is the kind of thinking, and it may take hours longer of these kind of questions, and it's better than, for me personally, it's better than me. It's not that I don't want to go and read it in a book, which I do, but when I grapple with it like this, when I sit here and go, what are the emotions? What are they? How do they work? What do they tie into? What am I experiencing on a day-to-day basis most of the time? How can I change that? What actions affect it? What people affect those emotions? What can I do to affect others that may really cause them to move in a better way? How can I genuinely help? And then how does that tie into my bigger picture goals? Well, I can tell you right now, even in thought, it's like that fuels it for me. It gives me the fuel. I mean, in the beginning of this, on January 1st, I was really thinking to myself, this is going to require a lot of energy, because real change requires massive energy. And so when you grapple with this stuff, you start to find where the energy is. And it builds as you start to build momentum, as you start to feel excited about, stacking all this. You feel like you can really build momentum, because I tie into my bigger belief. I just had the thought a second ago. Finding ways to make other people feel feelings and emotions that are positive and full of hope and excitement and encouragement, and gives them some kind of courage, some kind of like ability to maybe approach something that they want to approach with a little more energy, with a little more strength, like somebody's got their hand on their back just saying, you got this, let's go, you can do this. Like that fires me up. Like that brings me energy. Like I just got some energy just saying it, it's like, so, I could spend years, and I have spent years, not thinking about these things. And I never understand that is somewhere where my purpose lies. And sure, could I read in a book? And I have read in books. Oh, you if you do something selfless, or if you help people, that's going to be, you got to look outside yourself, etc., etc. That's a worthy purpose. But until you grapple with it and figure it out on your own, it's very hard to just go and do those things. So you kind of have to figure it out. I think you got to grapple with it and figure it out on your own. You got to spend this kind of time writing, working it out, asking yourself the questions. I don't think you can't get around emotions and working with that, and understanding your feelings, and understanding that they're integrally tied to your character traits, your wants, your desires, the things that you do, your goals, your purpose, and your beliefs. You can't. I don't think you can separate them. So you might as well be aware of them. But you can break them all out. Some of these emotions out. Courage is one that I really want to figure out, or spend some time with. That feeling of just, all right, I'm gonna step up to the plate. I'm gonna try despite whatever fears I have. What does that feel like? Like, what color does that look like to you? How is it different than, hope or optimism? It's a little different in feeling. So spend some time with that to understand it on that inner sense, the instincts, feelings. All right, that is enough for today. Thank you guys for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one.